forget about this makeup at Sephora. So I've already done my Sephora recommendations video. However, I normally come back with kind of a second recommendations video. My normal original recommendations video is pretty much items that I've tried since the last Sephora sale that have been mind-bogglingly amazing. And these are products that I wish I could have added to that video, but we just didn't have the time, or they might have been too repetitive to what I've talked about before. It's just makeup that I love. I mean, you know, nowadays in 2023, brands have got to figure it out. They can create good products. There's a ton of amazing products out at Sephora, and these are products that have stood the test of time. These are products that maybe I don't mention them the most, but low-key, I incorporate them pretty frequently into my makeup routine. And a lot of these products are inspired by a couple of weeks ago, I went to LA to my first YouTube event, and I packed the best of the best makeup for me. Makeup that I knew that, one, looked great, was easy to apply, and was going to last me all day. And I was like, these are the products that I need to recommend to you guys. Now, I'm not doing the same look, and I've switched things out based on what I've already recommended and some other things that I was excited to talk about. But this look that I'm showing you right here, not only did it slay, but it slayed all day. So a lot of those items are in this video. I actually will put an LTK post link to that exact look so you can see every product that I use, because I am going for a different look today. And like I said, I did replace a number of products, but if you want to know exactly how I got that look, it is linked in the description box. But yeah, I was pretty much inspired by that layout of products that I chose to look my best and last the best. So a lot of these products are repeating from that, and then there's lots of other goodies as well. The point of this is to give you some recommendations that really, as I said before, have stood the test of time. So that's enough of my spiel. Don't forget about these products. They might not be new shiny toys, but they're still... So let's do some hydration prep here. I have a couple of items. So this is a new item, and I know that kind of contradicts the whole point of this video. I didn't put it in my main recommendations video because, like, this jar right here is $100. But if there's any time to splurge, it's now. I've rethought this. And I mean, ever since I've opened this, have legitimately been using it every day and loving it. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Water Cream. You can see how deep and how much I've already used of this. So here's the thing, okay? Like I said, probably not worth $100. However, I love this before makeup. It doesn't disrupt any makeup that I put over top. And for my dry skin girls, it really sits and lasts all day. I'm talking about the hydration. Now, one of the claims originally is that this lasts 100 hours, gives you 100 hours of hydration. And I was like, you know, Charlotte be wild with her claims. But legitimately, at least all day, I feel as though this moisturizer is freshly applied. And there's a lot of moisturizers in my collection that just don't do it that. Like, yes, they make my skin feel hydrated and work great, but this one literally makes my skin feel like it has freshly applied moisturizer all day. And I would be lying to you if I didn't recommend this. I would be doing you a disservice, because this is my current moisturizer that I'm using every day. So she's a splurge. There are definitely other alternatives, but I've been enjoying it, and my sensitive skin isn't breaking out from it, so that also is something that's super important. And then to prep the lips, now you guys know I'm a Laneige lip mask kind of girl, but lately I've been enjoying the mintiness that the Lawless Forget the Filler Overnight Lip Plumping Mask has been giving me. This particular flavor is Juicy Watermelon, which I love, and this one is another great hydrator. I do think I prefer Laneige Overnight, and I prefer this. It's a little lighter for before makeup. So we're just going to let this sit on the lips. It's definitely thinner, and I like it because it's watermelon-y. So that just makes it more fun and enjoyable. Yummy, it smells so good. So, I mean, I've been using this. I feel like lip hydrators are so trendy right now, and I've fallen into that. So I've been loving that. Now, to prep my face, this is not a primer that I've talked about frequently, but I do really feel as though it does help with the longevity of my makeup. This is what I wore to my event a couple weeks ago. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Ultra Glow Face Primer. Now, I like the Ultra Glow because it does leave a little bit of dew to my skin, but it has that grippiness to it, and I feel like this is a primer that's kind of gone under the radar, both from everybody else and from me. But I do like this because I feel like it does hydrate my skin, but it helps the makeup last while still giving that glow and that hydration, which is a really hard combination to master. You know, most of the time primers are either hydrating and glowy or they're going to help your makeup last, and I feel like this is a good bridge between the two. So even I haven't mentioned it too much, but when I know I want a little bit of glow with freshness and hydration, but I also want my makeup to last, this is the one that I'm going for. So yeah, I mean, I really like this. Okay, so we're gonna talk about my #1 favorite foundation, which I've talked about frequently on my channel, but it is so expensive that I do feel like if you can get it at a discount, you absolutely should, especially because this brand does not have sales. So this is the time. This is the foundation I wore to my event. This is the Tom Ford foundation stick. I am in the shade 4.5 Ivory. To put it simply, it's the best foundation. I've officially decided now that Dior Air Flash is no longer available. If you were to ask me, Morgan, what's your #1 favorite foundation? You're looking at it right here, folks. It is my favorite foundation ever. It's so great for natural makeup days. It's great for events. It's great for lasting because of how skin-like it looks. And you can really turn this product into whatever you want it to be. I actually want to use a brush, I've decided, for a little bit more full coverage. No, but literally, I've never come across a foundation that can be so perfecting, but also so skin-like as well. And you can use this in spot kind of areas as well. So for days that I don't want too heavy of makeup, but you know, my cheeks are looking red, my nose is looking red, I'll just put this over those red spots and blend it out, and it looks seamless with the rest of my skin. The finish is legitimately so skin-like that you can just put this on alone with no other makeup on your face, and it doesn't look weird. It just looks like your skin. So I love this foundation, and normally with something that looks so skin-like, it loses that perfected look. Not with this. I don't feel the need that I need more full coverage or more of a matte finish. And this foundation truly is what you make it. It's a $90 foundation, you guys, but in my opinion, 100% worth the price. And if you need it, now is the time to pick it up. I believe last Sephora sale is when I picked this up, and I really fell in love with it. And it has created this whole saga of me telling you this is my #1 favorite foundation. Literally looks like skin. So we love that. Okay, now let's move on to eyebrows. I have a duo here from Rephr, and I find that maybe I don't talk about these products a ton, but I am constantly reaching for them off camera, particularly on my no makeup days. So starting off with the eyebrow pencil, this is just a really lovely fine point eyebrow pencil. They did a good job with it. It does everything that I want an eyebrow pencil to do. Now this one I don't use as much as the eyebrow gel that I'm going to talk about next. This I just needed a good eyebrow pencil to talk about, but you guys know I like a brow pencil from the drugstore. e.l.f. has great ones, NYX has great ones. You don't need to go to Sephora to get a good brow pencil, though of course great brow pencils do lie at Sephora. But I go to Sephora, for example, for eyeshadow palettes, because you truly cannot get a good eyeshadow palette at the drugstore, but you can get a good eyebrow pencil at the drugstore. So it's just not at the top of the list of necessary things to purchase from Sephora. But to be clear, I do think Rephr has a really nice brow line, and I really enjoy this eyebrow pencil. I haven't decided that if I run out, I will be repurchasing this, but it is a good one. I don't know, using it today, I'm like, maybe I will repurchase it. It's looking really nice. It's very fine. It's not too wet or creamy of a formula. I'm enjoying this even more than I anticipated. But to be clear, the reason that we're here is now is a good time to pick up the Rephr Brow Gel. Now this I actually prefer to use without any eyebrow pencil. I use this on days where I'm wearing very minimal makeup just to make my brows look fluffier, and this is a heavy duty product, and I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be for everybody. You know, it gets a little gooky because it is a white eyebrow gel. However, on days that I am not wearing much makeup, this is perfect for giving my brows a full look without even having to fill my brows in. And then also, it just simply lays the brow hairs down and they aren't gonna budge through any weather condition, through literally exercising. So this is not like, it's difficult. This eyebrow product is not gonna be for everybody, but it is probably like the most industrial, badass brow gel ever. And your brows are going to stay exactly the way that you lay them. But I do think, you know, it being so thick and white that not everybody's going to love it. But my eyebrows are so stubborn. They won't stay. And this makes sure that they're gonna stay. And like I said, my favorite thing about this, the thing that makes this product stand out for me, is it does such a good job of adding the fullness to the brows and flattening the brows out that I literally, for every day, do not need to even use a brow pencil. So, yeah, this might be too intense for some of you, but if you want intensity, this is the most intense brow gel on the market, even more so than my Too Faced. Let's move into the eyes. I did already put a little bit of concealer in this inner corner because this is where blue sits, and then I also used the concealer to clean up underneath my brows. Now, I do get asked a lot about eyeshadow primer. Honestly, I always go back to the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, so I'm back on this. I've been using this a lot lately, so this is what has been my primer, because I do feel like now sometimes with concealers, with hydration being the main focus nowadays, they crease easier. So I've just been keeping concealer to a minimum on my eyelid with just a classic eyeshadow primer. So I'm just gonna paint this on. NYX has a good eyeshadow primer if you're looking for something more affordable, but I've always been a fan of Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, and I really do feel like it's nice for oily eyelids because it does dry the eyelid a little bit. Okay, so for eyeshadow, I could do a whole video based on eyeshadows, but I was thinking, like, what is one that just excites me, that's gone a little under the radar? And that one was definitely the ABH Cosmos for me. Now, I know the purpose of this video is to not pick new items. This is kind of newer, but I just feel like it's fallen right below the line of for recommendations, meaning like I wanted to put this in the most recent recommendations, but I just didn't. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the capacity in that video. It was already long enough. So I'm talking about this because I love this palette and not enough people have been talking about it. And it's been a true representation of the kind of looks that I've been loving this year, which are simple and glowy. Today I went a little bit more fun than I normally would with this palette, aka just putting a blue eyeshadow all over my eyelid, but it's still kind of wearable, right? So here's how I got this look. So I'm starting off with the Space Dust shade, and I know ABH also just launched their Fall Romance palette. I don't like that one as much. I feel like the ones that have launched before the Fall Romance have just been a little bit creamier, and I've been into lighter eyeshadow anyways. Fall Romance has a lot of depth, which might be really great if you're into smoky eyes or you just have a deeper complexion. But I've been liking a light, simple, glowy, smoky eye, so this is kind of the perfect representation of what I've been loving, as well as it still plays with some colors, but it's approachable. I'm going into Eclipse now, tapping off the excess, and this is going to bring a little bit more purple into the look. And these, I think, just are a really great classic ABH formula. Very easy to use, but it's more amplified, I think, than like 2018 ABH because the mattes aren't as fall outy. You know, they're a harder press, but still creamy, blendable, and very pigmented. I don't know, it's just a more modernized formula, as I've been saying, and I'm loving it, and not enough people love this, I think. Okay, I'm going to take a smaller brush, and we're going to go into Dark Matter, which is this one right here, and I'm going to look straight down into my mirror, and where this crease is happening, I'm going to sneak that dark shade right in here. I don't want too much depth from the shade, And we're just going to blend that out. I really just want this darker shadow. Oh, I almost poked myself in the eye. I want this darker shadow in here. You can even take that first brush that you used to get the blend even more smooth. And then I'm going to take just a little bit more of that, and I'm going to press it right into the outer corner of my eye. I don't need to overblend this because I'm going to put the blue shade right over it. So I'm going to take the Space Cluster shade, which is a shade I don't use a lot from this palette. Today I just felt inspired to. And I'm not going too high with this shade. I'm kind of keeping it just under where I put the dark matter shade along the crease. And then we're also going to pop it right over the dark shade in the outer corner. And my brush is not wet or anything, and it really is this vivid. I'm going to go back into this brush, and just to kind of clean up here, make everything look more blended. If you want, you can even like lightly tap into dark matter again to get more depth here. Isn't this so pretty and like fairy-like? I didn't get much fallout with this, but since the shades are more on the glittery side, there's a lot of reflect in there. I'm just gonna clean up just in case. And while that's drying, I do want to talk about my favorite Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Boundless Bisque. Now, I did already talk about these pencils in my recommendations because they had an awesome kit that came out, but it sold out within a few hours. But this shade is not in that kit. It's Boundless Bisque, so it's a little bit more skin tone, and I love to use this to clean up under the brows. So I'm just going to lightly go right underneath. You see how this is just adding a little bit more brightness and a little bit more cleanliness to the brow. So I'm just going to do this. And sometimes I'll go even harder, but since I already have my eyeshadow done, that's all I'm going to do. And you can even take a brush if you want and kind of blend it out. There's nothing on this brush, maybe just a little bit of extra concealer. But we're just going to make these lines a little less harsh. But this is perfect for brightening that under eye or underbrow, excuse me. Now for concealer, I'm going with the Urban Decay Naked Cookie concealer. This is great if you have oily skin. I use this for coverage and longevity, but it still isn't drying or anything. It truly is one of my favorite concealers to have launched over the last couple of years. Now on the day of the event, I mixed this with the Natasha Denona, and I felt like this would kind of mattify the Natasha Denona a bit to make it even more long wearing, but this is great on its own. I'll have the shades of everything that I use in the description box, but this particular shade's a little lighter, so I like to make it look more cohesive by applying this lighter shade to the centers of my face. But I have been liking that little bit of a more bright look lately. I went through a phase where I wasn't as into that anymore, but I'm kind of back on it. So I'm just using a Pat McGrath Labs concealer brush to press it in. And this brush is nice and small, so you can be really precise about the blend of this product and the placement. So like if you want to be more intentional with it, on the nose you can be, and around the eyeshadow area. I always like to put concealer on my nose because I feel like foundation just doesn't stay on the nose or cover on the nose or look as smooth on the nose as foundation does. And then to give everything a more cohesive blend into the skin, I'm going to use my sponge just to kind of give that final blend. Okay, so this is most definitely a staple. It lasts a long time and it's the perfect shade for my skin tone. This is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick, and this is my go-to for a snatched look. I 100% of the time use this for special events. Maybe not 100, but like 90% of the time I'm grabbing for this. Definitely brought it all the way to LA with me. So I place it in a couple different areas. I use my ring finger for a more pouty look down here. Blend it a little bit before I forget about it. And then I also use it down the nose. For me, I love this as a contour shade. Then we're gonna blend that out. See how that just snatches the nose? And then I'm also going to use it in the outskirts of the face. So for me, I like to use a brush to apply this. Sometimes I will just draw it on. It doesn't disrupt anything underneath, but since I want a more natural look today, a more soft look, I'm using a brush. So if I want super snatched, I will go directly on the cheek with this product, but I don't need to be super snatched today. And it's just the perfect tone. Then under the jawline. Anyways, this is one of my most favorite cream contours in the world. It's the most perfect color. It's most definitely a must-have for me. And then to set the under eyes, I'm going to bring out an oldie but goodie, which is the whole point of this video. This is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I know I've been only talking about, you know, the Huda Beauty powder. This is not as blurring as the Huda Beauty powder, but it's got more thickness, like, I guess the word is viscosity to it. It's still a beautiful powder, and it still is, to this day, 20 years later, one of the best powders on the market. Like, don't feel outdated or not cool if you're still using this powder after all these years, because it still is so good. I'm just going to use a powder puff, pop it underneath the under eyes and around the nose area. And then right here is where my pores show the most. So I'm just gonna press the powder in here. Then I'm gonna take a fluffier brush and we'll use that to kind of spread and disperse the rest of the powder. Point being, it's still one of the best powders on the market. Now for bronzer, normally, okay, I say don't purchase Pat McGrath from the Sephora sale, and like you still shouldn't, but in case you're stubborn, one of my favorite powder bronzers, just the tone is perfect, is Nude Honey from Pat McGrath, and it's just a solid formula, and it goes so perfectly with the Makeup by Mario, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this. Listen, okay, I would just be lying if I said that this wasn't one of my favorite bronzers that you can get at Sephora, though I do still recommend to purchase it from Pat McGrath during one of their online sales, which go up to 30% off. But I definitely wanted a cooler look with the bronze and contour because my eyes are more cool toned. Oh my goodness, I put so much powder down, I forgot I was going to use these cream products. I'll still use a little bit for the demo, but these do work better with no powder. But these nobody talks about, and I think that this gives the juiciest look to the cheeks. You can buy these at Sephora still. They're from Danessa Myricks. They're the Dewy Cheek and Lip Palette. When I was a bridal artist, I used to use these as well. So I'm going to put one of these on the cheek, but you can use these as lipsticks or more so lip glosses and cheek colors. I'm like kind of deciding what color I want to go for. I'm going to go for Wallflower in the more nude tone here. I'm just going to use my finger and I'm just going to place this down like so. Warm it up because it is a little sticky. But what stands out about this is the glow and finish that this gives on the cheeks and the longevity. But it instantly, with the finish of it, adds life to the cheeks. You see, it was over all powder before, and now my skin just has this glow to it. Now, ideally, I personally like to do this before powder because that way you don't get the under eye heavy layer right here, but we'll fix that with powder. So I'm going to use my finger to warm it up, press it, and then I'm using a brush to work it out. But yeah, nobody talks about this cream cheek palette, and it's because it's not as malleable as a lot of the cream colors that are popular right now, which normally isn't something that I love, the fact that it's not malleable. But there's so much longevity to this product, and it just adds so much hydration to the skin. I've always really loved working with this product for some reason, because it is a little harder to work with. but I love the colors that they offer. And if you do powder after, you won't see that line, but we'll blend it out and you'll see. So for powder blush, I used to mention these every Sephora sale. I still do pick up new colors every Sephora sale, but you guys know lately the market has been crazy with all of the blush launches. So I not forgot about these, but I haven't been reaching for these, and then I picked up the shade Chai during the most recent Sephora sale, and I was like, she's back, baby. I love this formula. So I'm gonna do a little bit pinky to add some color back. This is the shade Passion Fruit. And this just is everything you can ask for in a powder blush formula. It's not too pigmented. It's the perfect level of pigmentation. It blends out with ease. It applies even easier than that because you don't even really need to blend it. And they have the best neutral and wearable color range. And then to fix this line in here, I'm using kind of like a highlighting blush. So these, I can't believe I didn't add these into my recommendations video. I don't know what happened, but I'm adding these in now. These are the Bare Minerals highlighting blushes. For this purpose that I'm about to show you is the perfect reason to purchase these. So these are like a blush and highlight hybrid. So I'm gonna take Mauve Glow right here, and I'm just going to go right in between the blush and where my highlighter would go. And it's going to add additional dewiness to the skin. And then you see how it instantly added that nice highlighted look. For highlighter, I'm going to go in with a classic from Haus Labs. Maybe not a classic yet, but this was just a solid formula. I'm going to use Peach Quartz from Haus Labs, and these are just such a smooth, beautiful highlight. I mean, Haus Labs has really done a good job with their line. You know, as they build their line up, the products just keep getting better and better. And these highlights are some of the best. They're very, very reflective, but in a good way. Pretty as that. Gonna apply some right to the inner corner of the eyeball. Let's go ahead and finish this look here. So I'm going to start off with Space Dust. And this is going to go pretty low. This is the eyeshadow color we want to show through the most to take up the most surface area. Then Eclipse next for the mauve shade. Not going quite as low or as deep into the crease. So it's about going halfway, not crease, lash line. It's going about halfway on the lower lash line to bring in the mauviness. And then we're gonna use Dark Matter, just like the lightest touch, because we don't need that much definition down here. And then we're gonna dip into, of course, our blue shade. And I'm going to put this on the inner half of the lower lash line. And that is it for the eyeshadow. Wait, JK, I lied. So I've been liking eyeshadow for eyeliner lately, so I'm just going to use some of Galaxy here on an angled brush, tap off the excess, and I'm going to use that as my eyeliner. I mean, there's a lot of eyeliners that I've been loving, don't get me wrong, like legitimate eyeliners, but lately I've been all about powder eyeshadow for liner. So I'm just going to stamp this along my lash line. Then I'm even going to go as far as to create a wing, an inner corner wing. And now for mascara, what I'm going to use is one of my favorite volumizing or volumizing mascaras at Sephora. It's worth the splurge during the Sephora sale because you guys know I do think that the drugstore has amazing mascaras, but the Patrick Ta Major Volume Mascara, it is so good. So I won't buy this full price, but I will repurchase this during the Sephora sale. So I'm going to do this off camera and then I'll share what falsies I end up popping on. Okay, so for reference, I actually did use a lash that you can get at Sephora. It's from Velour and it's the Plant Fiber collection, which I love in the style Stargazing. And this is a really pretty lash. But let's move on to lips to finish up this video. I'm once again using a Makeup Forever pencil, but I'm using the shade Up and Down Tan just to have a little background, a little bit of depth here. The shade's a little bit more warm than I wanted to go, but it's fine. I think I meant to pick up a different color, but whatever. We're just going to use it. And then I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in the shade Blushing Dream. Truly a great time to pick up any Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. She is my #1 favorite lipstick formula. So of course I'm going to recommend this. It had to be in this video because she just has the best lipstick formulation. I don't know if the shade in particular is still available, but it's such a pretty pink color. And then finally, I have a lip oil that I've been enjoying. This is from Milk Makeup. It's the Odyssey lip oil in the shade Soul Search. I just wanted something nice and pink, so this is what we're going for. Just a little bit for a little bit of glow. The lips are a little brighter than I anticipated, but it still is a pretty look. So here is the final look of Sephora favorites that are not to be forgotten about. Just because I didn't make it in my original Sephora recommendations video does not mean I don't recommend them. Hopefully this kind of sparked some memories of previous items that maybe you might have wanted in the past, but might have forgotten about. I fully stand by, send my mark of approval for every product that I used on my face today, as well as I believe we just got a gorgeous look. It's so fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. You know I love to create Sephora-based videos, so I always have a good time with this. If there's any products that you think are forgotten about that people should be reminded of, comment them down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.